everyone, my name is Joel Dunay, and this is my official, unofficial network state exam topic solution. Now it's about the 13th topic, which is about the structures and operation of virtual private networks. And now the first one, purposes and goals of VPNs, the different types, topologies, and services of VPN. So the purposes and goals of VPN is quite easy to understand, that we are using a third party in order to send traffic. So what's going to happen, imagine that this is router, this is the untrusted network, this is the trusted network. It's enough to visualize like this, and we would like to access this remote access. So what's going to happen, we are sending the traffic from our trusted network, and that will go through the untrusted network to a central site, for example. And the approach is that with the help of VPN, we are creating a tunnel. So I'm going to visualize it with red. We are creating a tunnel over the third party, so over the internet to the central site to create the tunnel. And by default, this tunnel is not encrypted, so everything that goes through this is not secured. But with the help of the IPSec protocol or framework, we are ensuring that the traffic that goes through this tunnel will be secured. Therefore, we are creating a secure tunnel over the public or the untrusted internet or the untrusted network, which will be a secure tunnel where we can send our traffic to a remote site. So basically, that's the aim of the VPN. I'm going to tell some words about it because I believe it's important. That the advantage of VPN, that it's a logical connection, like the VLAN, which is a logical grouping. That means here we don't have to, or we don't need any new devices or any new or we don't need any more devices. We have to use the actual technology we are having, and we just have to implement this VPN approach on them. So here we are just simply using bandwidth. As the advantage of this, that we don't need devices, it's compatible to the existing technology because we don't have to have anything else for this, and it's secured because with the help of IPSec framework it is secured. And if I remember well, or I would say it's cost efficient because we don't have to pay, as I said, nothing for this. Okay, so the different types, topologies and services of VPN. The different types is important. We have the site-to-site and the remote access approach. And if I remember well, the remote access approach is when it's based on the telecommuter's geographical position, because based on the position of the initiation of the connection, the IP address will be different. Therefore, the remote access approach means that the connection has not been statically set up. I mean, the information has not been statically set up because the information for the channel is dynamically changing. This is good because it can be accessed any time. Just the telecommuter has to try to get access. So this is the case when we does not set up routers like having VPN, like acting as VPN gateways, but you simply using dynamic approach. And we have the site-to-site approach, which now I said, or you can think is the opposite of it, where we are having two routers which will act as a VPN gateways, and they are using access controllers. That means these will encounter which is an interested traffic, and if these default gateways, I mean routers, will encounter or will get this interesting traffic, then this traffic will get through the secure tunnel that has been set up between them, and on the other side the other gateway will decrypt it and will send it to the destination. Of course, here the advantage or the aim is that we are setting up statically the connection between the gateways, so they just have to be aware that when an interesting traffic will come, and basically that's the difference. Of course, if you know, you can mention that hairpinning tunneling, or yeah, if I remember well, it's hairpinning tunneling, where if I remember well, the VPN traffic goes in an interface on which it will go out, and we have the split tunneling maybe when the VPN traffic goes to based on the net, based on the company's policy, the VPN traffic will split. So for example, there is the management plane and the other will be the data plane, so the VPN traffic will split up. If I remember well, that's the difference between them. And basically that's the topologies and services of VPN. The features of different VPN implementation, that was the remote access and the site-to-site. The features and services of the IPSec framework and the advantages and disadvantages. So if I remember well, the IPSec framework is something like this. We have the authentication header, the ESP encapsulation, I don't know what's the abbreviation, and when we are combining these two, so I'm just going to write plus plus. Okay, and under authentication header, if I remember well, it does not support confidentiality, yeah, but it does support integrity, it does support authentication or authenticity, and it has a key exchange, the Diffie-Hellman approach. So I'm going to visualize like this, that it has this, it has this, this, and all of course the last one has everything. Okay, so the IPsec protocol is basically this. The authentication header and the ESP, which I don't know now what's the abbreviation for, what it stands for, but it's like something like encapsulation, I don't know what. So basically the big difference between them, that the authentication header does not use confidentiality through the tunneling. That means it does not do encryption on the data, therefore the data will be sent over the tunnel in a plain text. Meanwhile, with the ESP, if I remember well, the IP header will be encrypted, and there will be the IP header which will be encrypted and placed to the IP header, so it will be placed another IP header, so it will be passed, when it will be passed from this router to the other router, this router will decrypt the IP header and will forward to the actual IP destination. So the big difference here is that the ESP provides total encryption of the data. By default, that's all about the IPsec framework. The components of the IPsec, I'm not going to talk about this because that's basically the previous one. It provides confidentiality, integrity, authenticity or authentication, and the Diffie-Hellman key exchange approach. You can talk about here again encryption, hashing, the key hash algorithm, message code for authentication, Diffie-Hellman, so I'm not going to speak here about them. IPsec, VPN, encryption, authentication, key management. Okay, integrity, as I said, it's exactly the same like the previous one. The anti-replay protection is important because anti-replay protection means or verifies that we are not that the receiver is receiving unique packets, and unique packets, under unique packets, what I mean is simple, that imagine that this is the receiver, this is the sender or the transmitter, sends a packet, the receiver will wait for a sequence number, because here the entry replay uses a sequence number, will wait for sequence number 100, and it received a packet with sequence number 100. Then the receiver will wait for the sequence number 101, will receive a packet sequence number with the same sequence number, so we're good. Then we'll wait for the next sequence number, and will send or get or receives another one which will receive with 1. So of course this will this will visualize or see that, hey, something is wrong because I already received this packet, so this packet should be manipulated, so we will have to do something. Basically, the anti-replay protection does this. Based on the sequence numbers, it ensures that the receiver should be receive only a unique traffic based on the sequence number, and if there will be a multiplication, then it will be somehow managed, I believe dropped, or something will happen. The configuration step of the IPSec and the IPSec parameters, I do suck with this part of this topic, so I'm going to try it. Try it, but please check it at home. So if I remember well, we have two routers. I mean, that's for sure until now. Then interesting traffic will be sent to this router. This router will realize that, hey, I got interesting traffic, therefore it creates a tunnel to the other traffic. That's the first step. Key and how it's called, ICA KMP tunnel has been created. This is the first step, if I remember well. The second step is create this ICA-KMP policy, and within the policy the routers have to do the authentication, which means they have to set what authentication will be, how long the tunnel lifetime will be set up, and what kind of encryption will be used, if I remember well. I believe that's the second step. The third step, if I remember well, is to do the internet key exchange. The internet key exchange, this is nothing here. The internet key exchange first step, where they define other parameters. Then we have the second step when they are defining and creating a secure tunnel, and the fifth one is when they are actually sending data on the secure tunnel. So please check it. I know that first they have to go create this ICA-KMP policy where they do the authentication. Then within the internet key exchange phase 1, they have to define what kind of traffic will be examined, what will be the if I remember well, their crypto map and something like that will be, and they have to put it to the interface, and that's all. We have to define that from which we can receive the interesting traffic, if I remember well. And the last one is that actually sending traffic, but again, please check this because I really hate this part of this topic. Forgot to say that I'm not going to do a video on the 31st topic because it's exactly the same like this topic, although there you should know more about the IP, about the side-to-side configuration, but that's all. Everything has been explained in theoretically in this topic, therefore this is the 30th and the 31st topic as a whole. Yeah, and for the last one, in the next one, there is the troubleshooting and verification. I do remember that at the VPN, you can check that how many traffic has been sent through the tunnel, so you can check that in the verification. That's all. Again, if I said something wrong in the previous topic, I mean in the 13th topic, then I don't really care, and I hope it will help, and don't forget to subscribe.